let's say, for example, we take ownership of this World Coast. Like I mean,
Listen, this satin pillows are
like
I've been swallowed.
so like the fact that if we wear swag, it's not a derogatory thing. It's a representation of what we do, of how we straight or kept our head together. Welcome to the GenC podcast. I am one of your hosts, JP Jackson. To my far right is man in green.
Yeah.
New khaki.
We are the olive boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been trying to make it.
Did you guys plan this last night?
No, we didn't. Like we literally never planned.
That's giving that you had a braai without me.
Oh, Lyle. No.
To the audio listener.
No.
I've got olive in my shirt.
Hey. And you heard it there. With us in the middle today. Someone who's hopefully going to share a lot and explore a lot with us. We have Miss Firdous Hendricks. Welcome.
Thank you.
Is it Miss, Mrs.?
Miss.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's like the universal one.
Yeah.
Oh, actually.
Yeah.
Right. Because so with that in mind, I often refer to people as they, like all the time.
Okay.
Just so that I don't make a mistake.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's that we in that
Yeah,
era.
in that era.
People take offense. I wasn't even giving offense. It just took it.
Yeah.
But Miss is fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Welcome, Firdous.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to capture the first podcast that you are a part of. So I think for our audience, do you want to just give us a quick introduction as to who is Firdous?
Who is Firdous? I'm not going to speak in the third person.
Okay.
Because I find that very weird when people do that. But I am a South African, Cape Townian, born and bred, and a mother. And I feel like that mother is something that has defined a lot of things about who I am outside of the actual human that I gave birth to. It's a role that I've played in many different areas of my life. And I studied fine art, but found that the commercial art spaces was very far removed from the deep work that the arts can do. And so my life journey has been really tangled into how the arts can be used as a tool for transformation, as a tool for healing, as a tool for activism. And I'm very passionate about young people. I prefer the company of children to adults. I'm sorry.
Wow.
But you're just like
Allegedly.
not as smart. Can never be. And I love the possibility of the youth. And so my whole life has been dedicated to youth and education and the arts. And that's, I guess, me.
So how does one just to take you back, how does one convince your Grassy Park parents that I'm going to study fine art at UCT?
You know what? It's a valid question because I finished matric with distinctions. And so a lot of family members did actually question my father and say, she should be studying medicine. She should be studying like all of those careers that is what you do when you are an A student. But I think the fact that I was a girl was part of it. I don't know if my brother wanted to study fine art, if it would have been as easy sell. However, something my father said to me when he actually shared it with me that why it was that he wanted me to study fine art because it was between advertising and fine art. And he said to me, he is a information systems auditor. So like the pinnacle of logic and reason. And he said, as a colored man in South Africa, the way that he was able to progress in his career was through being creative. Is that creativity really underpins every industry that sets apart those who move forward and those who don't. And that when you go and study fine art, that is the core of what you're going to study, and who knows what's going to be possible after that. And he was so right. I mean, like sometimes our parents drop these like wisdom bombs on us and we don't realize it is until way after. I mean, when I went into art school, it was with a vision of becoming, an artist in a gallery.
Mm-hmm.
And actually what it opened up was a whole other world that I didn't even think was possible at that age. Yeah.
Damn. I'm in danger.
Yeah.
I want to...
The ducks are full.
Where do we go? So, okay. I think I want to start with the whole idea of children are smarter.
Yeah.
And
my
child is nodding.
She's like,
And one of the most incredible things that you've done and you've actually shared is your first illustration of your first period, if you will, that you sort of illustrated. Like, tell the audience about that experience where you actually illustrated a story of your first period.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I didn't realize you had done this level of research.
We're professionals.
So I started my period when I was 9. This is very weird having this conversation with you too, which was very early, obviously. And it was a very difficult age. Also, I'm a Muslim woman, so there are other implications, there are other responsibilities that come with menstruation.
Yeah.
And also, you're going through things hormonally and emotionally, and there's fatigue and all these things, but you're like 9. And your friends are like, why don't you want to come play outside? What's wrong with you? Don't you want to be friends with me anymore?
Wow.
Like there isn't that understanding on their side. Obviously not. I actually thought that I had like pooed in my pants the first time.
Of course.
You don't know this, but it's not red right off the bat. So it was quite a difficult I don't think you realize you were going to be talking about
No. So I actually studied, myself and I studied science, medical science.
Okay.
So we are very comfortable speaking about.
Okay, good. So,
and it's just to maybe it's important that we have a discussion.
I think
as also
important.
a girl dad now.
Because there are people out there that have not experienced that.
Yeah. So I actually was playing outside in the road, as you do in Grass Park in Cape Town, and I did like slip and I fell. And when I went to the toilet, I was like, I've made a poo.
Yes.
and I hid it from my mother because I didn't want her to know, obviously. And then eventually, obviously, it came out that I had my period. But I think that it was a lot to process, you know? And so the story I wrote, I kind of illustrated the story about it, and it wasn't completely true. There was elements of fiction because I couldn't be absolutely true about the real. But there was so much in that story that was just me really processing what happened to me, and how there was a breakdown in my friendships because of it, and the embarrassment at school, and the stigmas at school, and it was also, I don't know, there was a catharsis to being able to just put it down.
Yeah.
I shared it with my mother like long after I made it. And she was so proud. She took it to work.
Wow.
As mothers do. And I was already in my early 20s, and she actually shared it with one of her colleagues who had a 9-year-old that was entering into puberty, and she gave it to this woman, and she told me this girl reads this book over and over again because it's helping her to understand what's coming. And I was just like, actually, we don't channel stories to these really, really important milestones in children's lives because it's we're too scared to go there. But actually, they're really important. And I actually don't think I would be able to have written that story now. Okay. I wrote it in a time where it was still so fresh and I had that young voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, and the reason why I think it is important is because there are parents out there that are not comfortable having that discussion. They don't feel that they can create that space for their kids as they grow up. Yeah. And it's also one of the reasons we created a platform like this is to have those discussions that sometimes you might not be able to do at that moment. And I think it's important that we do know that this happens. And it's important for them to know that they are not alone.
So why that sort of like touched me is because I write poetry, and I remember because long after you just write and you write and you're like, oh, this is kind of fun, whatever, and then you start to share your poetry, and then you think back to the fact that like the reason why I wrote is because I was a child trying to make sense of the world around me. And using art to sort of like escape and express and stuff like that. And so my question is, you then decided to, I guess, pursue art, but what other things did you go through that made you realize, oh wait, I can actually do this?
It's funny because when I went to high school, so I went from, like it was around 1990, it was the 90s when I moved from primary school to high school.
It's totally
and so I moved from like a now traditionally government colored school into a formally Model C school. And so obviously there were a lot of things that was just new. I mean, there was a pool. You could like swim during school. You can swim. It was amazing. And art was like a formal subject. And I always loved drawing, but I never thought that I was any good at it.
Oh, okay.
And so when we had to do subject choices, my mother said, I said to her, like, I can't choose art because I'm not good at it. And then she said, no, but you are drawing all the time. And that's why you do art
shout out to
at
Mom.
school, to learn how to draw better if you don't feel like you're good enough. And it ended up being my career. And I think what that taught me is that creativity is not, and making art, expressing ourselves through art, drawing, painting, dancing, music, all of these things. These are not special skills that only talented people have. It is human nature. And in our community, it is something that's so natural. It's indigenous to our bones to create. And it's not about trying to create something that is going to gain some kind of like fame and fortune. It's a natural extension of who we are to express ourselves in that way. And so all the challenges I've ever had in my life, and I'm now 40, so I've had a few. It's always been the thing that's carried me through to be able to put things. Because when you draw something or you write poetry or you sing a song, you are expressing something beyond language.
Okay.
You are able to speak to people. It's the language of our spirit. And I think that for me has been the thing in working in different communities with children who are not first language English speaking, or Xhosa speaking, Afrikaans speaking. In South Africa, we have to all communicate with each other on equal setting in languages that is not it's not the language of our home. It's not the language of our heart. And that's what also has created a lot of imbalances and inequalities in the way we interact. But when we create together, everybody's on equal playing field. Everybody's able to talk to each other at a deeper level. And for me, that's the thing that's been, I think, the grounding, the rooting that's gotten me through all kinds of challenges in life.
So take us back to when you realized that the commercial aspect wasn't for you. Because you entered it, like you said, you thought it was going to be the gallery. You thought that's where my signature was going to be on that painting that sold for whatever price. What was the switch for you? Because I think a lot of times people in any industry, they might find that switch. They enter law, and law is not the law that they saw on TV, or they realize that level of law is not the that doesn't resonate with them as a person. Now they go on another journey to see what avenue does my skill set add to the world. Yeah. So what for you? What was that switch?
You know, it was a lot of different things. It was part of my childhood experience. So we started having this conversation actually, but actually the arts was my first introduction to the politics of South Africa in a real way. So not just the conversations you overhear your parents speaking about. But when I was in standard 5, grade 7, I was part of this project by a magazine called Molo Songololo. And Molo Songololo was a free magazine that they used to distribute to all the schools. It was purple. I don't know if you guys remember it, but it was like purple and there were all these like little cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
But they then did this project where they took 2 children from across the Western Cape. So, and across different schools, cultures, religions. And they took us all to Robben Island for a week. And we did art.
Wow.
So we had creative writing workshops, art workshops, music, dance. They put us in whatever group. We couldn't choose. I was in the creative writing group. And they gave us tours of the island. We lived on the island. They put us in houses with kids that we would never have met. I mean, I grew up in Grassy Park. At that point, I had not really had a friend or known anybody who was black or white.
Wow.
There was only colored people where we lived. And that's all the only people we interacted with. And now we were in this environment with kids from all over. It was amazing. And we became such good friends. And we created together. And we had like a really incredible artist run these workshops. I remember our creative writing workshop was Lady of Shame. I don't know if you know.
No, I don't.
Anyway, she's
We're going to know now.
Yeah.
But we wrote this, and you know, I remember the rap that we wrote. I'm
Do you
not
wanna
going to
perform
say, oh
it?
my God. I'll say it.
Okay,
I'll say it.
let's
Because
go.
I was in standard, how old was I? Like 12.
Yeah.
It started with Don't Limit. Oh, wait.
Reside, no pressure.
So it's something like, don't limit to something of your mind, be diverse, and you'll be sure that you will find that it's not a curse to be black, so-called colored, or even Griqua. Like I remember just that's how it started. Don't limit the ways of your mind, be diverse. And we wrote that together. And I remember we went down into like a dungeon and they switched off the lights. I was like 12 actually. I was petrified. And there were chains and it was really scary. And they switched off the lights and they explained to us how people were tortured on Robben Island.
Hey, yo.
And then we went straight into a writing process. And that was the first time that I experienced art in that way. The power of creative expression, and I was 12. And I think that really made me go deep in the way that I started creating, the exposure to that. Fast forward to university. As my student job, I worked in retail at a shop, in a clothing shop in Cavendish, you know. And so I had that experience of that being my university job. Left university. And during university also, I was at Michaelis, the UCT's Fine Arts School, and I had a lot of issues with the way that it was run. It wasn't very inclusive. The curriculum wasn't transformed yet. And then I left for the UK and I worked in a street art gallery and a museum. And I was like, you know what? This is actually just retail. I'm just dressing a shop front.
Whoa.
And the marketing is just academic text. But the gallerists are selling it to a very particular clientele who are not my people. Do I want my work to
Be there?
Is that what art is to me? No, that's never been what art has been to me. I always went back to that experience on Robben Island of what creating actually is.
Whoa.
And then from there, I joined a group of artists. So in the UK, they I don't know if they still do it now under the Conservative government. But like if children are at risk of being expelled, for example, they don't just suspend them. They put them into art programs and they recruit artists to work with them.
Wow.
So I joined a group of artists called the Change Collective, and they were also just writers and theatre performers and artists, and they would come together and share work. And that was my first exposure to how art can formally as a career be put out to do this kind of work. And when I moved back to South Africa, the organization that I would now work for had just been founded. It was just so
the universe.
It was really aligned. It was so aligned. And yeah, I think I found what my purpose is.
I want to speak about, because obviously there's your journey with art, but there's also your journey as a South African, as a Cape Townian, with our very, very rich identity and politics that we have. And one of the questions that we want to uncover as the GenC is just, what does it mean to be colored? And what is that sub group of Malay and Khoi and stuff like that? And so growing up, what was your experience? Did you identify as a colored? Did you identify as a black woman? How did you sort of identify? And in addition to that, how do you identify now?
Sure, this is a hot topic. This is controversial. Yeah. I don't think I was aware of it as a child.
Okay.
Because I, if you ask me as a child, who are you? I would say I'm Muslim. And still Same. Now, if you ask me who I am, that's who I am. My culture and my identity very much revolves around my faith and my religion. However, I'm fully aware that the Cape Malay culture has its own little masala metijalas in there. That is original. We are a smorchi. It's very delicious. It's very like nuanced. It's niche. Yeah. You know, and if you go out to other parts of the world, you know, Islam is Islam and it's the same across, but culturally there are things we do that's just us.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And when you look at those things that's just us, it is also aligned to non-Muslim people from our community.
There we go.
Because there is an identity associated with us as a mixed race that actually breaks us apart from this word mixed race. Because when you talk about mixed race, often people identify as, Trevor Noah is a mixed race man.
Yeah.
It's two totally different cultures. Our grandparents, their grandparents all come from the same. Mix. It's not two different cultures.
Okay.
It's generations that built this community and what it is today. But I do have an issue with the word colored.
Awesome.
And the history of that word and the weight of it and how it was assigned to us and how haphazardly it was given to us. And I was actually at a conference very recently and Ibrahim Rasool was there and he dropped a bomb. He was talking about generational trauma and he was saying, in my community, the light eyes and light skin that we admire and revere and celebrate and see as better is testimony and is evidence to the violence that our women had to endure generations ago.
Yeah.
And I was just like, whoa, because I felt that hurt.
Yeah.
I felt that violence.
Wow.
That this lives in us. And when you work in, so-called colored communities, you see the evidence of that. You see it's like there's so much bubbling underneath the surface of the lived experience of just a child.
Yeah.
The way they express themselves, the way they express anger, the way they express love.
Yeah.
But I also think that with that also comes, with the pain and the trauma that we hold ancestrally, there's also ancestral joy and resilience and love and kindness. And all of those things exist as well. And it's really about using that to heal the pain that we sit with and we don't understand. We don't necessarily understand where it comes from even. So when you ask me, how do I identify? Like, I don't like the term colored.
Okay.
However, I also understand that for a very large population, there is home in that word, that they've created their own identity with it. We've created. Let me not separate from myself from it, because it's the same for me, that the word also is like a reclamation of it, to say, actually, yes, you've assigned this to us, but we are our own people.
Yeah.
We have our identity, we have our strengths, we have our culture, we have our food, we have our jokes, we have our whatever. So I don't like to take a side, because for me, I'm always going to be for community and for people. Yeah. And if you if you find a sense of belonging in that word, and it gives you a sense of pride, and then who is some academic sitting at university to take that away from you, actually, 100%. Because they don't have your lived experience.
100%.
And I found in my personal journey, I found myself claiming that back. And as we've done the podcast more and more, I find myself being rooted in that more often, because I'm not Muslim. But we have a very clear connection between ourselves because of the word colored. And I think how I've always approached it now in my 30s has been sort of owning that word, much like the Americans have taken ownership of that word in their space. And what I found is it's through that unpacking of the joy and the trauma that we have these sort of discussions. And it's the evolution of that word, because I think you asked earlier, what is that C for, that in the podcast? and it really is that. It's that evolution of this word, and how do we make it our own? Because to your point, the Cape Malay, the colored, is a subgenre of this mixed race, but it's its own community and its own cultural significance, because the colored that is also in Johannesburg has their own sort of connection and lived experience that is passed down from generations. And like you mentioned, when we have these reactions to things or these experiences, we react based on what we know. And as we integrate with these communities, we can show them that there's a bit more.
Yeah.
And I've always found that even with this sort of space that we're creating now, if the message comes from someone that looks like you, it hits different.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily, you can say the same words and hear the same story, because even Ibrahim Rasul saying it in that manner, it coming from him, hits differently, because he understands everything that you are thinking about at the moment. And I think as we are unpacking it, and as you so eloquently put, these are the discussions we have going forward, so that our kids can also have these discussions with their peers.
Yeah, because we like, my friend was actually explaining to me like the logistics of it. That, like, for example, I will have colored children, but I might not be colored, type of thing. Like, it's one of those, like, it needs to be
Yeah.
Like, there's a phenotype, genotype. Shout out bio. But yeah, no, like what you said there was really very, very valuable, and now we have it like on tape.
Yeah.
And I think because it's simple stuff. It's really simple stuff that makes us ask the question. It will be like Heritage Day. It's past when the episode's coming out, but it's coming now when we're recording it.
It's like that.
And then it's like, oh, dress up as your culture. And then colored children are like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Minstrels. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is our... And so we sort of ask, we sit down with our grandparents, sit down with our parents, and we ask them, like, who are we? Like, what is our heritage? What is our culture? And hopefully, you know, we can unpack and explore.
And I do think we have this great opportunity to make it something. Like, we have this chance to say, like, let's say, for example, we take ownership of the Soil Coast like I mean,
Listen, this satin pillows are
like
I've been swollen.
so like the fact that if we wear swole, it's not a derogatory thing. It's a representation of what we do, of how we straight or kept our hair together. And if we take ownership of that, it's a different discussion. And I think that's what I mean by we at this great point where we're not saying that the past has not happened, but this generation isn't the one that lived the past.
Bob.
They heard the past of what happened. And we are at that point where we don't just forget, but we have an opportunity to go forward. And I think that's the unique part of, like, the youth. They have this imagination of a world of what it can be. And they're now being taught that, no, you can't do this because of X.
And we mustn't be precious about our terms and how we identified.
Yeah.
If the next generation are going to say, you know what, we reject this term, we must allow them to grow and to develop into who they have always been meant to be without our baggage.
Wow.
You know, like, we mustn't hold so dearly onto things that got us through when they have a different challenge and a different mindset and the privilege of that.
Yeah.
Because people didn't fight and die for nothing.
Yeah.
They fought but they could not. We still cannot foresee what that work is actually going to manifest as. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
The youth live in a world that we can never ever travel to, and we have to allow them to make it what they must.
Yeah,
without us bringing our swasaka.
Because I genuinely think that's the biggest gift that generation gave us, and actually our kids now especially, is that thinking of what the possible can be without the restraints of the previous regime, so to speak. Because now you're entering a world where you have these possibilities. Yes, you might not have the economic support for that, but the fact that you're already thinking about it wasn't a situation in the past because of you were demarcated to only do certain things. So that is already a step forward. But let's just grow from there and have them run it the way they want to do it, because they're the ones that are going to be living in that world.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very proud of Rizane. And not one tear. Yeah. He was Huckleberry there, but he kept it in.
Wow. I was feeling it though. I was definitely
that's what I'm saying.
She had you had me.
Yeah.
So let's get into
the 3 seasons on.
Raw.
Yeah.
Let's get into the organization that you work with. Work for Lalela, Life-Changing Art. Tell us about them.
So Lalela provides educational arts for youth from under-resourced communities. So we only work in low and no-fee schools. And our vision is to develop creative thinking and awaken the entrepreneur inside our young people. So art is by nature a healing modality.
Wow.
That's not our long-term outcome. It's something that we see in our classroom right off the bat. I'll never forget my first classroom in Lalela. It was in 2011 in Hangberg, right after what they call the war between the police and the community, because Ellen Zille was, you know the story. Remember the story. Anyway, my first class was with.
Do they call it the war?
They call it the war.
Oh, wow.
And my very first class was with grade 8 and 9s. No, sorry, grade 9 and 8 and 9 year olds. Sorry, that was.
Yeah.
And there was a 9-year-old boy who drew a picture of police shooting somebody's eyes out. And he saw that during that time. And very quickly, I realized that this work is more than what I could cope with emotionally. At that, I was in my 20s at that time. And we had an art therapist on our team. And we did a lot of work around how do we can't necessarily change the immediate environments that our children live in. What we can do is we can help them to self-regulate, to debrief, to ground themselves in the classroom environment through our creative methods so that they can focus on school, so that they can thrive. We can use art as a tool to motivate them to dream big, to dream beyond the constraints of their communities, but also give them, art you need to be very resilient to make art. It's not an easy thing to do. Every time you put a mark on a page, you are being very vulnerable. So how it teaches you to take positive risks. It teaches you to be a leader, to collaborate with others. We do a lot of collaborative projects. We have to work together. There's so many life skills involved. That is, for me, it's not just about giving children a space to dream. We have to give them the tools to make that happen.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the term of giving children a voice or empowering them. Children have a voice.
Okay.
Children have things to say and express and share. It's about giving them the tools so that they can be confident enough to amplify it themselves.
Awesome.
And that's what the arts does. So our work is, we work from grade 1 right through to grade 12. A lot of our kids have been with us for 12 years and now have gone on to university. We try and create active citizens in the community through our work. We help children focus so that they stay in school, finish school, go on to tertiary education or into meaningful careers. And yeah, so that's
in learning about your organization, I sort of came across the term psychosocial, which I feel like is such a cool intersection of psychological and social support. Why is that important that we sort of give sort of both? Yeah.
We were just talking now about the impact of even just the word colored. Now, if you zoom that out into the rest of South Africa, we are a nation that has passed down a lot. And our children now sit in overcrowded classrooms with under-resourced educators. And it's very difficult to learn when a cat running across the roof triggers you to go into a fight or flight response.
Oh.
It's not an easy environment. We can't teach a child who is not able to self-regulate.
Wow.
We can't teach a child who is hungry. We can't teach a child who on the way from home to school experienced X, Y, Z, whether it be a shooting on the way to school, whether it be domestic violence in their homes, whether it be a bully in their school. We don't know the journeys our children walk as young as they are. And if we're going to give them a chance, we have to focus on the education, but we can't do that if we don't make sure that psychologically they are well.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that, for me, for young people, we absolutely need to address that when we look at our education sector. The child is not just a brain.
Yeah.
The child is a soul. The child is a heart.
Yeah.
The child is a body. All of those things need to be developed. Yeah.
I want to sort of flip quickly because I find that one of the challenges that whenever you're trying to do good, you always have to think about the cost. You always have to think about the cost. And your model is for low to no fee schools. How do you guys get by? And then are there any things that you would like to do that you can't do because of the resources? Or is it you guys are actually finding a way to do everything that you want to do?
So it's a good question. Obviously, we don't charge for our program.
Oh, yeah.
Children come to the only thing we ask of them is that they have to come regularly and consistently. That's their payment.
Okay.
And so we do a lot of fundraising. We have a lot of private donors. We apply for grants. We go for corporate funding. It's a whole other beast of the NGO sector. It's where I find myself now, which is so far away from where I ever thought I would be. But yeah, I am. but it's a necessary thing. And look, in this sector, we are always striving for finding more funding, finding more support so that our work can extend, because there's such a need for it.
Yeah. 100%.
One of the things that we are a creative organization, so we have to think creatively. So we do use the artwork of the children to create scarves. I'm actually wearing one right now. And 100% of the profits from those scarves go back into the program. Awesome. So we make scarves and pajamas, and it's kind of like our long-term sustainability goal. It's not completely funding our whole project, but our goal is for that to grow so that we can sustain ourselves without relying on. But for now, it's really going for grants, going for corporate funding, having fundraisers. That's the work.
I was, because there's two things I want to.
Two things that I was.
I have to.
So
the one thing is
back.
I say two things a lot. That's what's happening. I'm being consistent.
This is two things all the time.
A lot.
Mine
all
is,
the time.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At work, they're like, oh yeah, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So the first thing is, because I recently did a course on design thinking at Impact Week. And so that is kind of very much taking creative thinking and sort of coming up with innovative ideas, entrepreneurial business ideas. And I resonate a lot with the fact that I don't think you can successfully do design thinking without understanding people. And I think that's kind of a flaw in society right now, is that we innovate for the sake of, okay, cool, we can make this and we can afford to do this, but people don't actually desire it, or people can't actually like use it. And there was a story that I saw from, it was like Lagos. I hope I said that correctly.
Not the Nigerian city.
The Nigerian city.
Yeah.
I was like,
no. Lagos. But
is it
Lagos?
Lagos? Oh, sorry.
But I mean,
okay, sorry.
I like your version better though.
Sorry, I was in two minds.
Yeah.
Lagos.
Shout
okay.
out to the Nigerian brothers.
Yeah, so they innovated something, and in Silicon Valley innovated something, and it was like the person was saying how absolutely useless the thing that they made in Silicon Valley was, but because they got $50 million funding, it was like, they're gonna. Whereas, we forget that the reason why we innovate is so that we can actually help society.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first thing I kind of want to just bring it back to the second thing. So I find that art, especially creativity, especially, is so people driven, and it's very, very important that we start coming up with, these more people should be doing design thinking. And the second thing is that at that Impact Week, I also found Moleskine Foundation, and they were doing a presentation about how creativity can transform the world. And then they asked people in the group, are there any locally based organizations doing work through creativity, through art, that sort of helps the community? And one of it came up was Lalela, which is really, really cool. Yeah, it's really, really cool.
Amazing. So proud.
And then I also just highlight some of the other ones. So the one was, is it Bridges for Langa? So it's like, I probably said it wrong, but it's like a music thing that they do. And it's that happens there. There's something called Film Spaza, where the kids in Kailicha, they sort of like, there's a whole film industry happening there right now. And then is it the Sunshine Cinema? And that made me very emotional, because you guys know one of my dreams right now is to transform the continent of Africa into the culture hub of the world.
Yeah.
And to see these organizations, to see these like-hearted, because I don't believe in like-minded. I like spirited people who are trying to actually, they feel passionate about this thing. How can we, move the conversation forward? So coming to, I said a lot. I was laughing.
I was 4 things that I was there. Your 2 things had 2 extra legs.
Face.
So it's like a...
Yeah, so coming to...
Oh, the ducks are open.
Coming to Lalela. How do we sort of like contribute to expanding the net of what you guys do? So like, for example, I know, for example, you work with kids like in Philippi and Yanga and those kids. Then there's also kids like in Fasantakraal, in Kayamandi. Is there any way that they could also be a part of what you do, stuff like that, basically?
I would say, look, we have a very particular way of working. We've got a particular methodology. We've got a curriculum. I love structure.
Okay.
I believe that you have to do everything with intention. I always say, like, I don't like to do things for specs and punches.
Okay.
So when we create our curriculum, we do a needs assessment of the communities. We look at what is needed. We look at what are the issues of communities that the kids are dealing with. We look at what like art materiality the kids want to, what is going to benefit them cognitively, and what are they interested in, what are the trends, and so on and so on. We create a curriculum from that. And then we also have expanded programs. So for example, we developed something called the Heart Map curriculum a couple of years ago. It was during the xenophobic attacks.
Wow.
And also, I mean, my classroom was like this. Hout Bay is a very weird place. So I don't know if you know Hout Bay, but there's like Hangberg on the one side, and that's a predominantly colored community. Yeah. And then Imizamuet is on that side, predominantly black community. And it's like the middle is like the wealthy.
Yeah.
And so in the classrooms, there was this like fight, always conflict, and it was so race related. So we developed a curriculum called Heart Maps, which is a social cohesion project that uses art to bring communities together, to bring children together, to help to understand each other's hearts and make artwork for each other. And it's a really beautiful process. And we actually ended up sharing this program, and we trained teachers across South Africa. We trained over 1,000 teachers across the country. Those teachers then would go on to impact like 128,000 learners or something like that. And it was through those kinds of projects that we can extend our methodology in that way. So during COVID, I developed a resource guide for educators who work with learners affected by trauma. And we were all going through trauma during COVID.
Yeah.
And this resource guide, it uses, because if you work in the after school sector, or actually just as an educator, you're often the first point of contact after a traumatic event in a child's life. Whether you don't always know it.
Yeah.
Some of it is obvious. There's a fire, there's a flood, there's gang violence, there's a shooting. You know, when you come into the classroom, it's going to be Tiamaka. Now you need to debrief or use art as that methodology. Yeah. Sometimes you don't know when a child has walked into your classroom and they've just experienced a traumatic event or it's ongoing trauma. And that's the same for all educators across South Africa. So this resource guide, we are in the process of trying to roll out nationally as well. I think that's something that we would love to share with educators during school, after school, everyone who works with children, because it is important to be trauma-informed when you work with young people. But I always say, people always ask, like, how do you give back when you don't have money? Like, people think about charity as a resource thing. Like, in our communities, we may not have lots and lots of money to give in charity, but charity goes beyond resources. Charity is in listening, which is what Lalela means.
Yeah.
It's in listening to a friend when they're going through something. It's in standing up for injustices. It's in being that guy in your school that stands up for the girls who are being harassed. It is being, it's doing a pencil collection in your community. Everybody collects a pencil and give it to a school who needs pencils.
Yeah.
Bonteheuwel is such an amazing community in that way. We have a program in Bonteheuwel. And like when we have holiday programs there, those kids don't just get peanut butter sandwiches. Like our facilitator there, the shopkeeper gives potatoes. This one gives chicken. They get biryani. Somebody's kitchen. It's being made in the preschool. It's like a real community effort to make sure that the children are getting the best possible life. And so I always say, like, encourage creativity, create in your homes. Like something really beautiful happened during COVID, actually, because we had to run WhatsApp classrooms.
Wow.
We had to innovate in ways that you don't understand. But like our primary school children, we could only access them through their parents' phones, and their parents were home for the first time. The parents were not going to work. And so Lalela's art class became a family activity. The whole family is playing the games, meditating. We would send them meditation voice notes, meditating together, making art together, like performance art. And we had to get creative. We had to like make sculptures with their clothes, because we had to use what they had in their homes. And for a lot of parents, they were like, wow, this is what you guys are doing with our children. This is life-changing for us. I think do that in your communities. Whenever I bump into our alumni, I'm so proud of them. There was a boy that I bumped into at the shop, Enrique, and he moved to Alsis River or somewhere. I can't remember where. Maybe Delft. In the north. I'm from the south.
Yeah. I mean, it's all the same.
So he said to me, I also started in my road now on the weekend. I play all the games that you used to play with us with the kids, and I started a feeding scheme, and I keep them positively occupied.
Oh my word.
And he's working as like a electrician or something, like skills based, but like still he's doing that for the children in his state because that's what he knows works.
I love it.
Like acts of kindness goes a long way.
Yeah. And I think that's the seeds that the program does, and it's the part of the journey that's undocumented, because he himself doesn't have a registered NGO to say this is the numbers that he does, but it's the fundamentals that he lives by that is now being portrayed in that community, and who knows how far-reaching that will have in another area. And then before we move on there, I think secondly the charity element about only being resource based. A lot of the time, this in a large degree is very much a charitable element of our lives, and I think,
which is to say, we're not making a lot of money.
And I think it's rooted in the understanding of what you're trying to do, and if it does end up having a positive impact, great. But I think for us, it's about sowing that seed and making sure that we're having those discussions.
So this is actually the Gabby question.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, Gabby's questions were all, like, a lot of her answered. Yeah, I was like, ooh, she was like, ask her about the heart map. Ask her. I told you, like, you're gonna love Gabby. She even made a flow joke here. I'm gonna read the flow joke just for the fun of it. What is a creative's favorite month? Arttober. I love you, Gabby.
That's a thing, though.
Actually.
Arttober, yeah. Oh no, it's Inktober.
Ooh.
It's Inktober.
Okay. Is that like a creative writing month?
No, it's like whatever in ink, like drawings. And, yeah, Inktober.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Shout out.
Wow.
Okay. So Gabby's question actually is, as an artist or as someone in the NGO and youth education space, what can you say about the importance of collaboration?
Yeah, I mean, collaboration, I think, is one of the core things that we actually teach in our classrooms because it's so important. I think if we all work in like isolated pockets, then our industries will only move so far. So like I said in the very beginning about how creativity really underpins how things move forward. And in technology, for example, often they would give technology to artists to play around with. Because artists are going to play around with that technology in a way that doesn't need to have a function. And so they will push that technology further than what people who is thinking of it in order to do a specific thing would. So when industries collaborate with each other, it means, because, we can't think about life in categories.
Yeah.
Medicine and technology have spaces of collaboration. Business and any industry has spaces of collaboration. But we don't know how to collaborate because we're not taught how to work with other people, because collaboration requires people skills. And people skills is not easy, actually. That's the difficult thing.
Yeah.
But I think, like I was saying in the beginning, when you create together, something happens that goes beyond like your external egos, your personality on the outside. It dissolves when two people have to be vulnerable together to create something together. And that could be across industries. I really believe that it's what makes us unique as human beings, is our ability to be creative.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that we don't value that in the way we educate.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's something that's intrinsic. So yeah, I think it's
one of my best friends, I'll never forget. So she also does art. One of the things that she made me aware of, our first artistic experience is coloring books. And she hates coloring books because she doesn't like the idea of coloring in the lines. And that is such a crazy analogy, but it also kind of feeds in that art is not for in the lines.
Not to restrain children into what you as an adult perceive as a good enough image. Like, you must let children explore shape and line and color freely so that they could create their own forms, not prescribe forms to them, Look, I don't knock coloring. Like, as adults who find comfort in coloring in those really complicated it is regulating, it's good for their nervous systems, do it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think as a way to teach art or create for young people, I'm watching my daughter actually just go for it with the lines as I'm saying this. It's this thing about that's why I thought in primary school that I wasn't good at art. Because the teacher in my primary school told me I wasn't good at art. Because I couldn't draw straight enough lines. I always had a very wild expressive hand. And that needed to be restrained.
Yeah.
So that it can look glossy.
Yeah. And your, just last question on this. Your artwork, the Wakils, am I saying it correctly?
Yes.
What was the sort of inspiration behind that? And then I saw there's a whale also in there.
You're asking me to talk about it?
Yes, please. Yeah.
I suppose for me, it's particularly those artworks that came from a very specific time in my life. And I think for me, the fluidity of water and ink spoke to the things that happens beyond so you have a physical experience of the world.
Okay.
And then you have the spiritual experience of the world. And then you have the experience in your body. And all of those happens simultaneously together, and we've learned to split them apart. And I think those artworks were an expression of that. So Wakils is, as a woman, it's the male figures in your life who are your protectors. And I think it came at a time where I needed to remind myself that I was held by the masculine. And I needed to remind myself that men are not all our enemies, and that if we keep on kind of putting that label on them and not allow them to grow into those roles of protectors and step and revere that, then we're going to perpetuate the cycle of gender-based violence.
Yeah.
And it was just an honoring of the male line that stands behind me.
Yeah.
It's brought me to where I am.
I can't lie, I got greedy there. I did get greedy. I can't lie. So on firstly, thank you. Oh my goodness.
Because I mean, based on those artworks, as a retired Monami user, I think those you are definitely a cut above the rest.
Can somebody give this man Monami?
Yeah. So good. So we like to ask our audience on Instagram some questions.
Okay.
And we get the response. This is a playful thing that we do. Let me just see him on the right page. Cool. So the question this week was, if you could add an animal to the big five, what would it be? So essentially we're making a big six for South Africa.
A South African
animal.
Heidi.
There's like 4
It's
people.
funny that you said that.
4 people. They were coming for Rizan.
I really think that is the case.
I also think
they wanted the expression because Rizan has an amazing Hadida expression.
Wait.
I need to hear.
And then
The world needs to hear.
needs to
Again.
hear.
The world needs to hear.
That's
As South Africans, it's part of our audio landscape.
Yes.
What is happening?
The audience
I
will make a Adidas sound just now. I just want to do this for the reminder. What are the animals in the big five? Just
the lion, the elephant,
Rhino,
buffalo,
leopard.
Cool. Because someone said elephant, man. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, okay.
Don't expose it.
I just want to make sure.
Don't expose.
And
expose.
But yeah, 2 people said Hadida, and I appreciate it. Because this Hadida said, like, live in my yard, bro.
Yeah.
And then they, like, pick these worms and stuff.
It was here when you practice. The year you practice. It's the mating call.
Mating call is unnecessary.
Why is it gathering in your yard, bro?
You think it's only boys? Swipes right on Rizan. That's crazy. But I want to actually shout out some actual answers. Besides Hadida. I also appreciate that they spelled Hadida differently.
Who knows how to spell Hadida?
Because this person, like, they phonetically, they were like Hadida. The double A, the appreciation.
Yeah.
Someone said the Dassie. I'm like, shout out.
Yeah, I like the Dassie.
Because we all grew up like, it's a Dassie.
But
Do you know
it's a rock rabbit.
family of the elephant?
I heard something like that.
What? It's like bananas or berry. What's going on? What's going on?
They share a lot of the same genes, apparently.
Clearly
Like
not.
a tiger and a lion.
Yeah. Clearly not expansion.
Okay, wait.
We need to fact check that.
That's decent.
I heard
You
that
can
as
fact
well.
check it because
I
I'm
heard
not
it as well.
100%.
No, but I heard
It might have
that
been on
as well.
social media. That
If it's 2 of us that heard it,
Yeah.
Shout out to this answer. The Rottweiler.
That was a good one. I was like, a Rottweiler.
It's so good because I feel like a lot of us, the first and a lot of the animal that we get exposed to is a dog.
Yeah, I was expecting
That
pitbull
was
as
my
well.
first fear, was the Rottweiler.
Yeah,
That lived in
same.
the back.
Yeah.
First
And then-
animal I feared.
And then when the police comes to your primary school and they bring that suit
Don't do drugs, kids.
yeah. And then I love this answer, but I feel like this is just like a Cape Townie thing. The southern right whale, we permy going to Hermanus.
Yes.
Oh, I love it so much. Oh, okay, but wait now. The elephant and the rock rabbit. Oh.
Yeah.
We can do research, but I've
No,
seen
I believe
something.
you.
You don't believe me. I did not study zoology.
Now it's don't
or
believe me.
I
I
saw
was very
something.
confident.
When it comes to science.
Because we have a segment on the show called Fact or Fake, man. This is
Okay.
such a fact or fake moment.
That would have been a really good.
Because I would have been
Yeah.
like fake.
Yeah.
Fake.
Yeah, no ways.
And this is fact. That's crazy. Came from the bowl. Sean Pierre.
I'm Google searching it now.
Okay. And while you do that,
I'm literally typing in rock Dassie, and then the next thing is versus like with elephants. So
yeah.
We're
cousins.
That's like other people. Everyone's their cousin.
They say it's the African elephant's closest living relative, in spite of the size difference. This close evolutionary relationship is deduced from similarities in the structure of the feet and the teeth.
Wow.
Jeez.
So there you have it.
I'm keen to hear if they sound the same.
No.
Like, do they have the same vernacular?
There's a game we like to play on this show.
Okay.
It's a series of hypothetical questions, and you just give us your take. And the game is called Say
Manao.
Mhm.
Say Manao.
Say Manao.
Say
Have you
Manao,
experienced
Say
Say
Manao.
Of course.
Like in on this.
No, just
no,
in
like
general,
in
in life.
life.
As a game.
Yeah.
No, just like
He's asking it funny.
He is asking it funny.
No, like if you just interacted with the colored person, they're telling a
Say
story.
Manao.
Say Manao. The
Yes,
same.
of course. Of course.
That's what I'm saying. Of course.
Oh, of
So
course.
it's the same. So it's the
Yes,
same.
So we
okay.
just decided to turn it into a game.
Okay.
Our universe.
Start
and
over.
Say
Here we
Manao.
go.
Say Manao.
Thank you.
Our universe and life as we know it had to swap with a fantasy universe from a book, movie, or series. Which universe would you like to experience?
Wow.
Oh, it's got to be Lord of the Rings.
Middle Earth.
Middle
Middle
Earth.
Earth.
Middle Earth.
That's scary.
I would love to meet an elf. I would
I would
like
like
to
to-
live among
You, man.
Live amongst the elves.
Yeah.
Won't you be taller than them?
No, that's
No, the elf.
you are embarrassing.
Yeah. Sorry, JP. Not
Ask
the
his-
dwarves.
What is?
Ask
Yeah,
his-
it's the dwarves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
what's the word I'm
Ask his-
looking for?
Hobbits.
Hobbits, yeah.
That's
Oh, and the hobbits. Yeah.
I might finally meet my son. I'll be the tall person.
So I would like to exist in a world where there's life on other planets.
Okay.
So I think like the Star Wars or Star Trek universes, where hyperspace travel is real. Like to take a vacation on Nebula 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that would be really, really cool. Because I'm a bit tired of us as a society. Like stop it. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause why are we voting for fascism? Anyway. I'm tired.
But what if that just I mean, you're saying Star Wars, there's fascism.
I know, that's what's in all Star Trek.
Also Star
Damn.
I think the first thing when it comes to mind is Blue Avatar. So like that world.
Wow.
Yeah, that
where,
would've been
like
crazy.
The
rooted
Navi
in,
and then
Yeah.
rooted in
Yeah.
nature.
we're watching the
type
third
of-
one
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Okay.
So
I
I
don't
think,
know if I'm going to be here. But
Must I wait for
But
you?
I'm also
No.
very into the airbender. I mean,
Yeah.
two
Like
of
that,
us,
yeah.
that would be very cool.
that would be really cool.
Oh, okay. Anime vibes.
Okay.
That would be really cool. I saw a Harry Potter fan like post something the other day, and I thought like that was so sad because she's like, imagine like she's such a huge fan of Harry Potter, and imagine that it actually existed and she's just a muggle. You know?
The hurt.
That would be
Yes.
crazy.
You're testing your reading abilities.
Okay. Say now you could redesign the country's currency with any artwork or theme. What would you put on the note?
Oh, that's a question for the comments. That's a
Mm.
question for the comments. In the comments on TikTok, on IG. Tell us.
Rizan would put the heart.
Is that for me?
It's all
All
of
of
us
us must
I
answer.
thought I'm the game master.
in the game master.
Wants to be a millionaire.
So there has to be a theme, right?
Yeah,
so you
you
can't
can-
just have like one random note and then.
Okay.
No, okay, I'm clarifying the rules of engagement.
Rizan, I just have answers for Rizan. It's wild.
Now
Listen,
listen,
you would have put the One Piece cast.
Okay.
You would, bro.
So you don't understand the spirit of the question. You don't understand the spirit of the question. Okay. No, because I was thinking, okay, what is very like uniquely South African? Unfortunately, it's taxis.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay. Okay.
You say,
So you say like a
quantum.
Ice.
The laptop.
But then if it's like a 200 rand note, then it needs to be like a VW lowered with it's like, you know.
Would it be like a bus, like an actual bus, 200 note? Or a Sprinter? Like a big one.
Okay.
Oh, yo, those student transport ones.
Yes, the shuttle.
But then, like,
I even like the whole idea of just using public transport. Because then you could like make like the 10 rand note could be like the cheaper modes, and then you'll get like your limos and VIP
modes of transport.
Because I like where I got lost in the source of this question was like, okay, cool, but we are moving away from like actual currency and stuff like that now. Digitized and stuff like that. But then, nah.
Okay. Any other suggestions?
Because I was gonna say it can make a sound. Okay,
yes, but you're right.
So like if you pay, then it makes like a
Weinberg, Cape Town. Hello, ma. Hello, girl. Come on now.
I think that the question is now been made redundant because we already
decided. This is the full set. The answer was just too good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Riza.
Towards the end of the episode, because unfortunately all good things must, you know. We like to give the guests an opportunity to do two things.
Okay.
Again, two things. Because it's designed two things.
Two things.
No way.
Two shoes.
She's going to remember me as designed two things. So number one is please do promote, plug, share any sort of pages where people, if you want people to follow you or want people to follow Lalela, please do like tell us. And then also if there's any projects or any things that you want people to like come and support and come out to, because it is that the season is upon us.
Yes.
So yeah, that's number one. And then when you're done, I'll tell you the second thing.
Okay. First one, please follow the Lalela page. It's Lalela, LALELA.org. And on there you're going to find a blog. If you go to news, it's so rich. Just read all of those stories. And when you read all of those stories, you're going to be inspired to do more. And then there's also our scarves. So our Lalela scarves page. It's lalelascarf.co.za if you want to look at the products that support our project. What was the second part of the question?
Yeah, like just if there's any like projects or things that are coming up that you are maybe going to be a part of, or that you want people to support, like anything in the arts, anything creative that you want people to come out, especially because it's like the festive season is upon us.
Yes, festive season is upon us. Look what other people can get involved in. We always like to do at the end of the year like stationery drives. For our schools.
Awesome.
Art material drives also, because we're coming to the end of the year, so we're starting to plan for next year.
There we go.
So if people want to collect, we have got a lot of, we see almost 3,000 children a week. So I always say I'd rather get a lot of one thing than lots of different things. If that makes that's more helpful for us. Yeah. So like Prit, for example. If you want to like do a Prit run, those are the things that we are really useful
for
us.
We should do this.
You know? And then of course it's Santa shoebox time is coming up. Our bountiful facilitator always does Santa shoeboxes for her learners. But yeah, I think those two things. Also, sanitary pads. That's also a constant for us. We're always doing a sanitary pad drive. Got a lot of girls in our project, a lot of girls in our school, and we never ever want a girl to have to miss school.
And if we can get these products, where do we bring it to? How do we get in touch?
Our offices are in Hout Bay. However, I know that's far. We can, however, like organize other spots for collection.
Okay, perfect.
If you just contact us, and you can contact us through our website. You'll find info@lalela.org, and then it will reach us through there.
And the second thing we like to ask our guests is, please provide a message to your younger self? It's a bit tough. And anyway,
for those of you that are wondering, her younger self is in the
room. Wow. A message. It's funny because I talk to young people all the time, but when it's you, that's that young person.
Yeah,
it's a different story.
I love this.
I think I would say to baby Firdous, why does this feel like such a big question? I think I would say to her that that to trust the journey and that you are enough, and there's nothing that you can do that's not going to add to who you are and what you're going to create in this world. No experience in your life is for nothing, even the worst of them. And I would tell her not to worry, that there's purpose for you on this planet.
As a bonus, because JP doesn't like this, we like to give the guests an opportunity to ask us a question.
We appreciate you joining.
Look at him.
And taking the time.
He likes to give it up, but doesn't like to
do
it. Yes,
whatever
do
you
that.
Preferably only have one. But
okay. I want to ask you, JP.
Oh wow. My ear's not going to come back.
What was the last artwork that you ever, but the most recent, could be very current, could be yesterday. Because you were saying that your Mon Ami question went into retirement. So what was the last thing it did before it retired?
So I actually do have an answer to this. It's a bit techie, but so I was ChatGPTing some logo work. Obviously inputting color grading, that sort of thing. So very technical, but that's the last art item that I created. In terms of drawing, you're not gonna like this answer, but probably a life orientation 12 years ago. I haven't drawn since. That's the retirement of the Mon Amis. But I do foresee, as my son is now getting a bit older, there's a bit more coloring in my future. And then I'll whip up the Mon Amis back into action. But I still won't be able to draw in the lines because I will also unnecessarily to do. But that would be mine. I've always found art in terms of writing and coloring has never been the best way for me to express myself. I found that my words create more color than a pen can.
Okay. I can,
and that's kind of how I've expressed myself.
Excellent.
I love that. That's
He's my favorite. I love it. That's my friend.
Please, 2 questions.
Rizad.
2 things.
You know, if you were in a classroom with young people, the question would be, I know asked you, are you married? Do you have children? Where do you live? You know, who's your, but I'm not going to ask you that because you're looking at me like, do not ask. And if you're not married, why not? What's wrong?
Oh my God.
This is what George would have gotten if I invited you into a classroom, but I'm not going to ask you. Don't worry.
Do you actually do that?
No, we don't do it. If you bring anybody into the class,
the students
would you like me now give a long introduction?
So
amazing artist.
I worked with kids.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Are you married? Do you have children?
Crazy work.
Anyway.
Am I invited to the wedding?
Do you have a picture? You said that you want your dream for the future is for Africa to become the cultural hub of the world.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Wow. Okay.
Amazing question.
Okay.
That's
So Okay, so this is the first time they're gonna hear this as well.
Yeah.
So before I became this person, I was always this person apparently, but I wanted to be an epidemiologist. I wanted to find cures and work with like very like infectious diseases. Think Zika, think HIV/AIDS, think those things. And I actually studied the coronavirus in 2016. I did my honors, yeah, and then the pandemic happened, and I was like, "Ooh, worst nightmare." But I think you get to this point as an adult where you start dreaming because of the reality of the world, and science didn't seem like the place where dreams are going to come true. And so now with my journey since, I feel like I'm dreaming more with this space, with the spaces that I've been in, the people I've met. Just like, if you know, like, if you feel like I met you recently, just know that I love and I appreciate what you've given back to me. And so I feel like I'm going to be doing epidemiology, but for a different type of disease. And I truly believe that art and culture and even something as simple as language is a way that we can heal as a people, as the continent of Africa. A lot is taken from us. And I want to try and find a way for us to sort of come out of that in a positive way, so that we're not like turn around and like, okay, cool, now we're going to steal from you. But like, okay, cool, you didn't ask for this, but this is also what we are willing to give. And so using different mediums, whether it's writing, music, movies, performance, all these different things, I want to find a way to revive languages, revive history, revive culture, and then also just let the people share their story and share their lives with the rest of the world in a way that's a lot more positive and a lot more, healing. So that's like the big, it's like a 10, 20 year goal. So yeah, that's me.
I would love to ask more questions.
We can talk about it after this.
We can talk about it after.
But no, Firdous, thank you so much for just sharing.
Is that connecting beard also a 10, 20 year goal?
It's coming, guys. It's coming.
You, like, I literally said you my friend. Why are you up today? But no, Firdous, thank you so much for sharing of your time, your journey with us, your story with us. I definitely got very greedy, and I also want to like ask you more questions. And then also just thank you so much for bringing Lalela to us, so that we can also listen, and learn.
Hey yo,
from myself, from JP, Lyle, the team. Thank you, and to you for listening.
Thank you.
Like, subscribe. We out. Peace.
Thank you.